looking, searching, trying to find the right way to walk. Stay beside me, guide me, try me. I wanna walk in your light. I've been looking, searching, trying to find the right way to walk. The Lord is my light, my salvation. Whom shall I fear? The Lord is the strength of my life. And whom shall I be afraid? When the wicked, even my enemy, my faith and trust I put all in thee. Believe you got the world in your hand. You bless me, Lord, I know I can stand. Show me the way, Lord. I will be faithful, for I am desolate and afflicted. Lord, show me the way.
Also to the rest of the people that's watching on the internet, good afternoon, and as always, it is good to stand before you. You know, sisters and brothers, it's one of the things that the Lord has showed me a long time ago, is that he is a God of covenants. If you are going to serve him, you are going to have to enter into a covenant with him. That's why the Lord calls me to put together this lesson titled Children of the Covenant. Children of the Covenant. See, you cannot serve the Lord on your own terms, sisters and brothers. And the Lord only recognizes and saves those that are in a covenant with him. Now we're going to start this in Genesis. We're going to start it with man, when the Lord finally got tired of this man. And he was actually going to kill everybody. But he found a reason not to, one man in his household. So we're going to start it in Genesis, the 6th chapter, and we're going to start reading at verse 5. Because the world's trying to serve God the way they want to serve. You know, I serve him my way, and you serve him your way. No, it don't work like that. Then you serve him your way, and then you're going to tell me we serve the same God. I don't ever let them get away with that. I said, no, we don't. Because the God I serve is a God that believes in agreements. He believes in putting something on the line. And also, when you're going to deal with him, you have to be committed. See, and man don't want to be committed in nothing. And God, if you ain't committed to him or ain't in a covenant with him, he's not going to save you. If you prepared to enter into a covenant with him, salvation is automatic. We're going to start us at verse 5. Genesis 6 and verse 5. Okay, go ahead.
And God saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually.
Now, you know, sisters and brothers, we just about back there now. Yeah. And we have arrived at this point again. Every thought in his mind is only evil continually. I mean, everything is just messed up. You understand? Go ahead and read.
And it repented the Lord that he had made man on the earth, and it grieved him at his heart.
Go ahead.
And the Lord said, I will destroy man whom I have created from the face of the earth, both man and beast, and the creeping thing and the fowls of the air. For it repented me that I have made them.
He said, so he was sorry that he made this man. He said, so I'm going to kill them all because I am sorry that I made them. Because the Lord didn't intend for this man to be like this. But man have a listening problem. He couldn't listen when the Lord told him to stay away from that serpent, the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. He didn't listen. He got into conversation with him. And then after that, looked like sin just came after sin after sin after sin. So the Lord said, I'm sorry, so I'm going to kill them all. Go ahead and read.
8. But Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord.
But he's looking for one man, found grace in the eyes of the Lord. That's letting me know, sisters and brothers, God see the individual. I don't care whoever's doing wrong. You don't do wrong because everybody else around you doing wrong. God will kill every one of them and save you if you do right. And this is an example. He saw Noah, one man that he found grace in. Skip down to verse 13 and go ahead.
And God said unto Noah, the end of all flesh is come before me.
Go ahead.
For the earth is filled with violence through them. And behold, I will destroy them with the earth.
He said, I'm going to kill them all. Go ahead and read.
Make thee an ark of gopher wood. Room shalt thou make in the ark, and shall pitch it within and without with pitch.
Now I want you to make me an ark, because that's what he's going to have all these animals load up on. Skip down to verse 17. Verse 17 and go ahead.
And behold, I, even I, do bring a flood of waters upon the earth to destroy all flesh, wherein is the breath of life.
Go ahead.
From under heaven, and everything that is in the earth shall die.
Now this God that's doing this is Jesus, sisters and brothers. He was on his old name, Yahweh or Jehovah. But people don't know this was Jesus. You ain't never dealt with the Father. Right. He said he going to drown everything but Noah and the animals that he going to bring over with him. Go ahead and read.
But with thee will I establish my covenant.
But with thee will I establish my covenant. That's the only way the Lord can save you. You have to be in a covenant with him. You have to be prepared to obey him. So when he told whatever he told Noah, had Noah broke the covenant, oh, I don't believe it, Lord, I ain't going to build this covenant, then he would have drowned like I ain't going to build this ark. He would have drowned like everybody else. But he obeyed. He said, so now with you, I'm going to establish my covenant. Go ahead and read.
And thou shalt come into the ark, thou and thy sons and thy wife and thy sons' wives with thee.
Now I want you to come in the ark. Bring all the ones that's your wives and your wife and your son's wife. And he told him to bring all the animals that he wanted to bring in, sisters and brothers, because God don't believe in doing nothing twice. Because he could have created every animal all over again. But first thing he showed you, I don't want to do nothing twice, so I've created them once. I ain't going to create them twice. Then again, too, gave this man a time to show that he know how to be obedient. So Noah upheld this part of the covenant. He said, this covenant I'm going to make with you. I will establish my covenant, and thou shalt come into the ark and all of your family. Now, once the Lord drowned everything, let's see what happened. Let's go into Genesis, the 9th chapter. And we're going to read verse 4, verse 1, rather, we're going to skip down. Genesis 9, and verse 1, read it.
And God blessed Noah and his sons and said unto them, be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth.
Now, after God had drowned everything, but Noah and his household and the animals, he told them when he took away the waters and they settled on the earth, he told them what he told Adam. Be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth, you and your sons, and all the animals with you. Let's skip down to verse 8. Verse 8, and go ahead.
And God spake unto Noah and to his sons with him, saying, And I, behold, I establish my covenant with you and with your seed after you.
Now here's that covenant again. I'm gonna establish my covenant with you and your seed after you. Go ahead and read.
And with every living creature that is with you, of the fowl, of the cattle, and of every beast of the earth with you, from all that go out of the ark to every beast of the earth.
Now I'm going to establish a covenant even with the beasts. Go ahead and read.
And I will establish my covenant with you. Neither shall all flesh be cut off any more by the waters of a flood.
Go ahead.
Neither shall there any more be a flood to destroy the earth.
He said, now this is my covenant. I ain't going to drown everything again, ever again. That's why no matter how hard it rains, it stops now. Go ahead and read.
And God said, this is the token of the covenant which I make between me and you and every living creature that is with you for a perpetual generation.
Go ahead.
I do set my bow in the cloud, and it shall be for a token of a covenant between me and the earth.
Now he said, I'm going to set a bow. That's the rainbow you see when it starts raining. God said, I'm going to do that to remind me to keep my covenant.
That's right.
It's going to be a token of this covenant. I don't care how mad I get out there, get with you. When it's raining, I'm going to look at this bow and say, don't drown her. Because I'm entering into a covenant with the man and the beast, not to drown the earth again. That's why, sister and brother, every time it rains, you get the sign to where, that's the light shining off the raindrops. I said, no matter how he did it, it's that. And you notice it don't show up on a clear day without rain? Because the Lord said when he do this, he's going to look up on it, and it's going to remind him not to drown everything again. All you got to do, sisters and brothers, the proof is still here. Skip down to verse 16. Verse 16 and read.
And the bow shall be in the cloud, and I will look upon it that I may remember the everlasting covenant between God and every living creature of all flesh that is upon the earth.
Now God put him a reminder out there. Every time I look at this, every time I start to rain, when this bow show up, I'm going to look at it, and it's going to remind me, don't let it rain too much, because we ain't going to drown them no more.
That's right.
But he said this is a covenant that he entered into with Noah, his sons, which is man, cover all men, and the beast. He said this is a covenant, because the Lord operated with covenants, sisters and brothers. Mm-hmm. And if you ain't in a covenant with him, he don't know you. We're going to show you this. Let's go into Genesis, the 16th chapter. We're going to look at something that Abraham's wife persuaded him to do, and we're going to show you was the Lord in this thing. Genesis 16, and we're going to start at verse 1. Genesis 16 and verse 1. Go ahead and read.
Now Sarai, Abram's wife, bare him no children. And she had an handmaid, an Egyptian, whose name was Hagar. And Sarai said unto Abram, Behold now, the Lord have restrained me from bearing. I pray thee, go in unto my maid. It may be that I may obtain children by her.
Now look, the Lord already done told this man that he going to have, that people going to come out of him. Mm-hmm. All he had to do was wait. But now what happened is his wife got to saying, I can't have no child, so I'm going to let my handmaid have a child for me. Go ahead and read.
And Abram hearkened to the voice of Sarai. And Sarai, Abram's wife, took Hagar, her maid, the Egyptian, after Abram had dwelt 10 years in the land of Canaan.
Go ahead.
And gave her to her husband Abram to be his wife. And he went in unto Hagar, and she conceived. And when she saw that she had conceived, her mistress was despised in her eyes.
Now she went there, and Hagar got pregnant, and then she started hating her mistress for whatever reason, I don't know. Might be because you forced me to sleep with this old dying man. Or it might be because, hey, since you can't have no kid and I got the kid, I should be wife number one. Right. Either way, no, she hated us. And what happened? What verse?
We had 5.
Go ahead.
And Sarai said unto Abram, My wrong be upon thee. I have given my maid into thy bosom, and when she saw that she had conceived, I was despised in her eyes. The Lord judged between me and thee.
Now, the whole thing is, she knows she had done wrong, but who she going to punish? She going to punish her maid. Go ahead and read.
But Abram said unto Sarai, Behold, thy maid is in thy hand. Do to her as it pleaseth thee. And when Sarai dealt hardly with her, she fled from her face.
So now she ran, and she went out into the desert. Then the Lord met her out there. Skip right on down to verse 11. Verse 11. And go ahead.
And the angel of the Lord said unto her, Behold, thou art with child, and shall bear a son, and shall call his name Ishmael.
Go ahead.
Because the Lord have heard thy affliction. And he will be a wild man. His hand will be against every man, and every man's hand against him. And he shall dwell in the presence of all his brothers.
So he said, you're going to have a son. You should name him Ishmael. And he's going to be a wild man. His hand is going to be against every man, and every man's hand is going to be against him. Who is Ishmael's children? The Arab sisters and brothers. Yeah. That's why sometimes people use the word, sometime in news, when they talk about the Arabian states, they said the 13 Arabian states. is 12, sisters and brothers. The 13 they're talking about is not Arabian state. It is a Hamite state because the Arabs took over Egypt. Egypt is the second son of Ham. The real Egyptians are black, sisters and brothers. That's why when people want to know, look, the people don't even know that Egypt is on the African continent. They don't even know that. And when you find out what Mizraim, when the Greeks look on and say, these people are black, the word for black is Egypt. Yeah. That's why Jesus was able to go down there and hide among the Egyptians when Herod was trying to kill him. That's why Moses passed as Pharaoh's grandson when Pharaoh was trying to kill him. Can you imagine the guy you want to kill is sitting on your knee? So now if the real Israelites or the Jews was white, then Pharaoh would have said, where you go? Where you get this baby from? Proof is in the pudding. So look, sisters and brothers. So when this thing, he's going to be a wild man, I know exactly who he is. He is the son of Ishmael. He is the father of the Arabs. The son that God didn't have nothing to do with. Skip down to verse 16 and read it.
And Abram was 86 years old when Hagar bare Ishmael to Abram.
Now, he was old. Ain't that something? That's why she was mad. But the whole thing is, God didn't have a hand in that. God had already told him that he's going to make a covenant with him and his seed after him. And that he was going to multiply. But his wife couldn't be patient, and he should have told her, well, be patient, Don, the Lord is going to fix it. Now let's go on to Genesis, the 17th chapter. 17. And we're going to start reading at verse 1. Genesis 17 and verse 1. Okay, go ahead.
And when Abram was 90 years old and 9, the Lord appeared to Abram and said unto him, I am the Almighty God. Walk before me and be thou perfect.
Go ahead.
And I will make my covenant between me and thee and will multiply thee exceedingly.
Now I'm going to make my covenant between you and me, and I'm going to multiply your seed exceedingly. Go ahead and read.
And Abram fell on his face, and God talked with him, saying, As for me, behold, my covenant is with thee, and thou shalt be a father of many nations.
And you're going to be a father of many nations, not only physical, but also spiritual, because Abraham is the father of the faithful, sisters and brothers. Yeah. But go ahead and read.
Neither shall thy name any more be called Abram, but thy name shall be Abraham.
But go ahead.
For a father of many nations have I made thee.
See, Ham means many, sisters and brothers. So he gave him a name to fit the station that he was going to elevate him to. The father of many nations. So I'm going to change his name from Abram to Abraham. Skip down to verse 9. Verse 9 and go ahead.
And God said unto Abraham, Thou shalt keep my covenant, therefore.
Go ahead.
Thou and thy seed after thee in their generation.
I want you to keep my covenant, your seed after you in their generation. The covenant he make, it cannot be broken. Go ahead and read.
This is my covenant which ye shall keep between me and you and thy seed after thee. Every man child among you shall be circumcised.
First thing he gave him was the circumcision. Yeah. Every man child among you shall be circumcised. Go ahead and read.
And ye shall circumcise the flesh of your foreskin. And it shall be a token of the covenant betwixt me and you.
Now, you get a man that refuses to get circumcised. I don't need it. I'm circumcised in the flesh. He cannot even come into the covenant. That's why I will not baptize an uncircumcised man. Because if you ain't under Abraham's covenant, you ain't got nothing going on, sisters and brothers. And we're going to show you that. Because God said, I'm going to make this covenant with you and your seed after you. Now, if you want to be a part of the covenant God made with Abraham, I'm going to show you what had to happen. Go ahead and read.
12. And he that is 8 days old shall be circumcised among you. Every man child in your generation.
Go ahead.
He that is born in the house.
He that is born in the house. Go ahead and read.
Or bought with money.
Or bought with money.
Of any stranger.
Of any stranger.
Which is not of thy seed.
Which is not an Israelite. A seed of Abraham. That's right. Any stranger. So how many does that cover, sisters and brothers? Every male on this planet. That's why people say you circumcise of the mind. Moses was the first one that told you to circumcise the foreskin of your mind. And if your mind is circumcised, that means you're going to do what God said. You're going to circumcise the flesh. But this I want you to pay attention to, because the Lord has given you some good messages here. Go ahead and read.
13. He that is born in thy house.
He that is born in thy house.
And he that is bought with thy money.
And he that is bought with thy money.
Must needs be circumcised.
Two strong absolutes.
Yes.
Absolutes. Must needs be circumcised. You can't get around two absolutes back to back.
No.
Something that must be done, that means if you don't do it, you are going to suffer the consequences. Something that need to be done, that means if you don't do it, you're going to suffer the consequences. Must and need have to be, or somebody is going to pay a price. Yeah. Must needs be circumcised. Go ahead.
And my covenant shall be in your flesh for an everlasting covenant.
Now, this is a covenant he's dealing with, for an everlasting covenant. Go ahead and read.
And the uncircumcised man-child, whose flesh of his foreskin is not circumcised, that soul shall be cut off from his people. He hath broken my covenant.
So the uncircumcised man, be Abraham's seed or a stranger, that is not circumcised, he said that soul shall be cut off from among his people, because he have broken my covenant. Now, if you ain't circumcised and you want to get baptizing you, will that help you?
Nope.
But it might get me cut off. You know why? Because I'm stupid enough to go against the law. I know better. I won't do it. I don't care whether you're Israelite, Abraham's physical seed, or whether you are a stranger. If you're going to be a part of the covenant, you have to be bought with money. Otherwise, then now you have become a part of the household of Abraham. But this bought with money represents a purchase that Jesus is going to make with you. Let's go and look at that purchase. Let's go into Acts, the 20th chapter. Acts chapter 20. You see, sisters and brothers, the Lord gave this thing to us as a people. We're supposed to spread this thing. Can't nobody else spread it like us. You know why? Because can't nobody handle it, because he didn't give it to them. I don't care how many apostles. Everybody want to be you. Edomite want to be you. Call themselves the Jew. The Mormon want to be you. The Latter-day Saints. This guy Armstrong, the church, the Worldwide Church of Christ, he want to be you. He going to make England Ephraim and going to make America Manasseh. Everybody want to be you but you. And all of the people that talks about being you are white. Whether they're your twin brother Esau or whether they're the children of Japheth. But when they come to do this, all you got to do is remember Egypt. How can the one that calls himself a Jew, whether he's Gentile or proselyte or Edomite, be passed as a Jew when Egypt is black? Moses sat on the knee of Pharaoh. Grew up in the house of a Pharaoh. When Paul wanted to speak, that guy said, the Greek captain said, can you speak Greek? Are you not that Egyptian that led out some 4,000 years later? Abraham's physical seed has to be circumcised. And if you want to be his spiritual seed, you have to be circumcised too. Why? Because that is the covenant. Because you have been bought with a price. Let's look at this price. Acts the 20th chapter. Acts the 20th chapter. And we're going to read verse 28. Acts chapter 20 and verse 28. Okay, read it.
Take heed, therefore, unto yourselves and to all the flock, over the which the Holy Ghost have made you overseers.
In other words, if the Lord had put you in a position of his people, take heed to what you feed that flock. Go ahead and read.
To feed the church of God, which he have purchased with his own blood.
Be careful how you feed the church of God. Because he purchased it with his own blood.
Yes.
So now, if you come under the blood, then you've been bought by the Lord. But I can't take a dead man and baptize him under the blood of Jesus. Because the Lord said he have broken my covenant. See, people don't look at the big picture anymore. You understand? They don't look at the big picture. They look at right here and they don't see nothing. Like they look at the big argument over circumcision was between Paul and the other Israelites that was right and Paul was wrong. But he went up there and persuaded Peter them to go along with it. But it never was a question about Israel being circumcised. Now you got Israelites say you don't have to be circumcised. That's why the Lord tell you a little leaven the whole lump. Had nobody ever put non-circumcision on the table, everybody would have done it automatically. It's just like the Lord's Sabbath day. Until Emperor Constantine, all the earth kept the Lord's Sabbath day. But when Constantine broke it, now everybody's gone pagan. Here. You cannot break the covenant system and expect to stay in order, because God has purchased you with his own covenant. Now let's go back to Genesis, the 21st chapter, because there's some things we need to understand. Genesis 17 chapter. Genesis 17 chapter. We need to understand these things, sisters and brothers, because people run around and do a whole lot of talking. I don't have no time for loose conversation, because this thing is right on top of us. I mean, it is right on top of it. I'm not going from emotion. I'm going from prophecy. I'm looking at that European Economic Union over there. And the Lord told me in Daniel the 2nd chapter, in the days of these kings shall the God of heaven set up a kingdom. And I am looking at it. We have run the 10 horns that were supposed to rise and try to restore the Roman Empire. We're down to the last one. We could name all 9 of them. One more to go. So when I say this thing is on top of us, sister and brother, you can bet on it. You're gonna win every time. Genesis 17, and we're going to start reading at verse 15. 17 and verse 15. Okay, go ahead.
And God said unto Abraham, As for Sarai thy wife, thou shalt not call her name Sarai, but Sarah shall her name be. And I will bless her, and give thee a son also of her. Yeah, I will bless her, and she shall be a mother of nations. Kings of people shall be of her.
See, now, God is weighing in on this. He didn't have nothing to do with what Sarai and Abraham concocted the last time and throwing this young Egyptian woman in the flame. You understand? He said, I'm going to bless her. Go ahead and read.
17. Then Abraham fell upon his face and laughed, and said in his heart, Shall a child be born unto him that is 100 years old? And shall Sarah, that is 90 years old, bear?
Look, sisters and brothers, they tell you that Abraham believed God, and it was counted to him for righteousness. Ain't that what the book said? Yeah. People quote that all the time. But you know what? The Lord had to bring him around to believe in him. Right away, he doubted. Look at here. I'm 100 years old. My old lady's 90 years old, and we going to have a baby? God is talking to him.
That's right.
Go ahead and read.
And Abraham said unto God, Oh, that Ishmael might live before thee.
See, he didn't believe God. He had decided he's too old, him and his wife too old to have a baby. So we got us a live, I got me a live son here, Ishmael. Oh, that you can live before another one. Oh, that you can make your covenant with him. Because it ain't happening with me and Sarah. Think about it now. This is what Abraham is saying here? See, I listen to people all the time, especially people that know all you got to do is faith, have faith, and you're a child of Abraham. You don't understand, because Abraham believed God, and it was counted to him for righteousness. I said, yeah, after the Lord showed himself, he believed him ever since then. Because this is something he's going to show him now. He 100 years old and his old lady 90, and you're going to get her pregnant? Yeah, that's on you something. Believe me, I know. What verse are we?
We're at 19.
At 19, verse 19, go ahead.
And God said, Sarah thy wife shall bear thee a son indeed, and thou shalt call his name Isaac.
Sarah going to bear you a son indeed, and you're going to call his name Isaac. Go ahead and read.
And I will establish my covenant with him for an everlasting covenant,
go ahead.
And with his seed after him.
So I'm going to establish my covenant with him. He didn't want to deal with Ishmael for whatever reason, God knows. But he said, I'm going to establish my covenant with him and his seed after him. Go ahead and read.
And as for Ishmael, I have heard thee.
Look, I know he's your son. I heard you, what you said. Go ahead and read.
Behold, I have blessed him, and will make him fruitful, and will multiply him exceedingly.
Go ahead.
12 princes shall he beget, and I will make him a great nation.
He's a 12 princes he's going to have, and I'm going to make him a great nation. That's why I know they're including even Egypt when the news people say the 13 Arab states. No, you got 13 Arab states, 12 Arab states, and you got one Hamite that the Arabs took over in the 600 BC, AD. That's why we have to do history and know about people, sisters and brothers. People always talking and don't know nothing. They don't know no book and they don't know no history. How you going to stand for the Lord and you don't know nothing? Go ahead and read.
21. But my covenant will I establish with Isaac.
But my covenant will I establish with Isaac.
Which Sarah shall bear unto thee at this set time in the next year.
It's about this time next year. That's when she's going to have it. Now let's see what, and then she had him, sisters and brothers. Let's go into the 21st chapter of Genesis. And we're going to start at verse 1. 21 and 1. Because God is a covenant God, and it's going to be the way he wanted, or it's going to be destroyed like he did the old world. It's all that simple. He don't have to bargain with you. He don't have to make no deal. It's all that simple. 21 and 1. Go ahead and read.
And the Lord visited Sarah as he had said, and the Lord did unto Sarah as he had spoken.
He visited her, and she got pregnant. Go ahead and read.
For Sarah conceived and bare Abraham a son in his old age, at the set time of which God had spoken to him.
So she did it exactly. See, God, he give you specifics, so when it happened, you can't say, well, it was a coincidence or it just happened. At the exact time when he said that she was going to have this baby. Go ahead and read.
And Abraham called the name of his son that was born unto him, who Sarah bare to him, Isaac.
Because God told him to call him that. Go ahead and read.
And Abraham circumcised his son Isaac, being 8 days old, as God had commanded him.
Now, he kept that part of the covenant, didn't he? Go ahead and read.
And Abraham was 100 years old when his son Isaac was born unto him.
Now, so he was 100 years old. Now, he was convinced then that what God said is an absolute.
Yep.
That's when he got to the point where he would obey God without question, because he questioned him once. And the Lord showed him, look, I am God. I can do anything.
That's correct.
I can make a 90-year-old woman have a baby by a 100-year-old man. And he did it. Now, he's going to try Abraham's faith. Let's go into Genesis, the 22nd chapter. And we're going to learn something, on our way to learning something. Genesis 22 and verse 1. 22 and verse 1. Okay, go ahead.
And it came to pass after these things that God did tempt Abraham and said unto him, Abraham. And he said, behold, here I am.
Go ahead.
And he said, take now thy son, thine only son Isaac, whom thou lovest, and get thee into the land of Moriah, and offer him there for a burnt offering upon one of the mountains which I will tell thee of.
Now, this child that you had when you were 100 years old, I want you to take him now, and I want you to sacrifice him with a burnt offering in the place that I want you. Get on up there and do it. Abraham didn't even mince words.
No.
What did he do? Skip down to verse 9. Verse 9. And go ahead.
And they came to the place which God had told him of. And Abraham built an altar there and laid the wood in order and bound Isaac his son and laid him on the altar upon the wood.
See, Isaac had asked him, I see the wood, where's the sacrifice? He said, well, the Lord will provide, son. Told the young man, y'all stay here. Just me and him going, because he know when he start doing that, they're going to try to intervene. That's right. And so what? He bound him and put him on top of the wood. Go ahead and read.
And Abraham stretched forth his hand and took the knife to slay his son. And the angel of the Lord called unto him out of heaven and said, Abraham, Abraham. And he said, here am I.
Go ahead.
And he said, lay not thine hand upon the lad, neither do thou anything unto him.
He said, now I don't want you, don't kill him. Don't do nothing to him. Now look what the Lord said here. Go ahead and read.
For now I know that thou fearest God, seeing that thou hast not withheld thy son, thine only son, from me.
He said, now I know that you fear God. How did he know? People say God know everything, but what it looked like here, he didn't know what Abraham was going to do until he did it, didn't he? Ain't that what it looked like to you? And then he says something else too. That thou wilt not withhold thy son, thine only son. Wait a minute. Ishmael was his son too. How is it then that Isaac is the Lord's only son? Because he's the son of the covenant. That's right. You ain't under the covenant. He don't know you. This is what people got to understand. He wasn't under the covenant. Skip down to verse 15 and go ahead.
And the angel of the Lord called unto Abraham out of heaven the second time and said, by myself have I sworn, saith the Lord.
Go ahead.
For because thou hast done this thing and hast not withheld thine son, thine only son, that in blessing I will bless thee, and in multiplying I will multiply thy seed as the stars of the heaven.
He said, because you've done this thing, and you will not withhold your son, your only son, and blessing him, bless you, and your seed, his physical seed, going to be like the stars of heaven. I mean, Abraham going to have a lot of children, and he do. Go ahead and read. I'm talking about physical, but then here comes the spiritual side. Go ahead and read.
I will multiply thy seed as the stars of the heaven, and as the sand which is upon the seashore, and thy seed shall possess the gate of his enemies.
That's the physical seed, not the spiritual. Go ahead and read.
And in thy seed shall all the nations of the earth be blessed.
And in thy seed shall all the nations of the earth be blessed. This is like what some of the things some of my Hebrew brothers need to pay attention to.
That's correct.
How absolute is all, sisters and brothers?
All, everyone.
In thy seed shall all the nations of the earth be blessed. Why is that? Because, go ahead.
Because thou hast obeyed my voice.
Because you have obeyed my voice.
Yes.
And thy seed, and that seed is Jesus, sister and brother. But let's go into the 25th chapter of Genesis, because we're going to get around to it. Because this whole Bible is knitted together. People try to say, well, I'm an Old Testament scholar, or I'm a New Testament Christian. Look, this whole Bible is knitted together. You need it all, or you don't have any. Genesis 25 and verse 7. 25 and 7. Okay, go ahead.
And these are the days of the years of Abraham's life which he lived. 180 years.
Go ahead.
Then Abraham gave up the ghost and died in a good old age, an old man and full of years, and was gathered to his people.
So Abraham lived to be real old, sisters and brothers. Then he died after good old age. That is. We can't even think of getting that old. But go ahead.
And his sons Isaac and Ishmael buried him in the cave of Machpelah, in the field of Ephron, the son of Zohar the Hittite, which is before Mamre. The field which Abraham purchased of the sons of Heth. There was Abraham buried, and Sarah his wife. And it came to pass after the death of Abraham that God blessed his son Isaac, and Isaac dwelt by the well of Lahairoi.
So when Isaac died, who did the Lord bless? Isaac, sisters and brothers. Because Isaac was the heir of the covenant.
Yep.
He was under the covenant. The Lord didn't even notice Ishmael. Now let's go into Genesis, the 26th chapter. Because we're going to show you before we get out of here that nothing has changed. Everybody want to change something. Nothing has changed. Genesis 26 and verse 1. Go ahead and read.
And there was a famine in the land besides the first famine that was in the days of Abraham. And Isaac went unto Abimelech, king of the Philistines, unto Gerar. And the Lord appeared unto him and said, Go not down into Egypt, dwell in the land which I shall tell thee of.
So now, down there where the Philistines and all this, that's all a part of the land of Canaan. The Lord telling him, look, you stay here. I don't want you to go back down in Egypt. Right. I can take care of you anywhere. Go ahead and read.
3. Sojourn in this land, and I will be with thee and will bless thee. For unto thee and unto thy seed I will give all these countries, and I will perform the oath which I swear unto Abraham thy father.
See, now he couldn't change because he swore that to Abraham, and Abraham kept his part of the covenant. Yeah. So when Abraham kept his part of the covenant, that locked Israel in. He had to find a way to keep it. That's why when Israel got all messed up, the Lord told Moses, I tell you what, you sit over here. I'm going to kill all of them. And I will take thee and make a nation. Why did he have to save one male? Because he had to keep the covenant with Abraham. And this is what people don't understand. Go ahead and read.
4. And I will make thy seed to multiply as the stars of heaven, and will give unto thy seed all these countries, and in thy seed shall all the nations of the earth be blessed.
See how he renewed that covenant? Right down through Abraham's seed? Because the seed that he's talking about, we're going to show you is Jesus. So he got to come through the children of the covenant. He couldn't come no other way.
That's right.
Had to come by way of Abraham and his seed. Now, here's Isaac. It have been continued. Go ahead and read.
Because that Abraham obeyed my voice and kept my charge, my commandments, my statutes, and my laws.
Now, why have I done this? Because Abraham have kept everything that I told him to keep. Yes. His statutes, his judgments, and his laws. Yes. Because that was Abraham's end of the covenant, as well as the circumcision. Because when you enter into a covenant of God, see, a covenant is agreement between two individuals, two groups, or an individual and a whole bunch of people. Mm-hmm. And that is, if you do this, I will do that. You sign a contract to buy a house. You don't pay your note. You have breached the contract, so they repossess the house, the car, the furniture. Because you have broken the covenant, sister and brother. Who do you think put that in their mind? The God of Israel did, sister and brother.
Yes, he did.
Man, think he can come up with all this smart stuff. No. God have brought you up just like a baby. You understand? Showed you what you know supposed to do to survive, and you don't even know it. Let's go into Genesis, the 25th chapter. Now we're going to we're going to look at Esau and Jacob and see how this thing going with them. Back up to Genesis 25, and we're going to start at verse 19. Genesis 25 and verse 19. Okay, go ahead.
And these are the generations of Isaac, Abraham's son. Abraham begat Isaac. And Isaac was 40 years old when he took Rebekah to wife.
Go ahead.
The daughter of Bethuel, the Syrian of Padanaram, the sister to Laban, the Syrian. And Isaac entreated the Lord for his wife because she was barren. And the Lord was entreated of him, and Rebekah, his wife, conceived.
So now, Rebekah was barren just like his mother was. But what happened is, he prayed to the Lord, and the Lord let her get pregnant. Yeah. Go ahead and read.
22. And the children struggled together within her. And she said, if it be so, why am I thus?
Now she had children in twins, and they didn't like one another then. They're struggling while in the birth. So if it be so, why is this happening? Go ahead and read.
And she went to inquire of the Lord. And the Lord said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb.
2 nations are in thy womb.
And 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels.
And 2 different manner of people shall be separated at thy bound. Go ahead and read.
And the one people shall be stronger than the other people. And the elder shall serve the younger.
That lets you know whoever come out last, that's going to be the boss. Mm-hmm. So these two struggling in your womb, but I'm going to separate them at birth. Yeah. You know what I say when I think about that? I think about what the Lord said by Adam and Eve. He said, look, I made them one. And let no man put them asunder. Ain't that correct? So the Lord has separated us and Esau, the one that called himself a Jew, and can't nobody make us come together. Only way you can do it is you to use E, and he's the user. Because you ain't going to get to use him because you're under the curse. These things I want you to pay attention to. That's why I tell people, always be aware of who you are and be aware of the people that you are dealing with and that are around you. Yep. And don't hang yourself out to dry because you might end up being shriveled. In other words, always have a presence of mind. Yeah. He said, I'm going to separate them at birth, and the elder is going to serve the younger. What verse was that?
We're at 24.
Go ahead.
And when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb. And the first came out red, all over like a hairy garment, and they called his name Esau.
This is the oldest one. They called his name Esau. Go ahead and read.
And after that came his brother out, and his hand took hold on Esau's heel, and his name was called Jacob. And Isaac was 80 years old when she bare them.
So now the one that called himself a Jew, I'm talking about the real Edomite, not the converted Gentile, are your twin brother.
Yes.
One was born red and hairy, didn't even mention what the other one looked like. That is your twin brother. And he always figured that you took something from him. And we're going to show you that. I mean, always. Now skip down to verse 30 and go ahead. Because Esau went hunting and didn't kill nothing. Jacob was a farmer. Hey, he got his stuff. He's on hand all the time. But Esau, we good hunting. You know how it is if you depend on your hunting. You eat or you starve according to your good fortune that day. You don't kill nothing, you don't eat nothing. Esau didn't kill nothing. Verse 30, go ahead and read.
And Esau said to Jacob, feed me, I pray thee, with that same red pottage, for I am faint. Therefore was his name called Edom.
So he didn't kill nothing. So will you feed me with some of your pottage here? What did Jacob say? Go ahead and read.
And Jacob said, sell me this day thy birthright.
Okay, you can eat if you sell me your birthright. The birthright, see, the elder always had a birthright. Mm-hmm. That's if God don't intervene. But God had already told him that the elder going to serve the younger, but he made it all legal here. Yeah. Sell me your birthright. What did Esau say? Go ahead and read.
And Esau said, behold, I am at the point to die. And what profit shall this birthright do to me?
The man didn't eat for one day. And now he's at the point to die. Go ahead.
And Jacob said, swear to me this day. And he sware unto him, and he sold his birthright unto Jacob.
Ain't that something? The man sold his birthright unto Jacob. Yeah. He said swear, and he swore to him. So now, it wasn't his no more. Mm-hmm. This is what you got to understand, sisters and brothers. This was not his. Jacob sold his birthright. I mean, so Esau sold his birthright, that's what it was Jacob. See, people don't understand this. And you have to understand. Because no matter even in 126 BC, when the Maccabees, our forefathers, converted Edom to Judaism. When it came to the point, and so now the Romans, all they wanted was a Jew to install over the Jews. So Herod, the Edomites, forefathers had been converted to Judaism. So the Romans got Herod, the Edomite, which was a converted Jew. We can read that in history if you haven't heard it already, and made him king over Judea. But when they needed time to find, but when they wanted to know where Jesus was born, Herod didn't know. He was a converted Jew, but he had to go to the real Israelites. And they told Herod what Jesus was supposed to be born. If he was the Jew, how come he didn't know that simple fact? These are just food for thought. Your twin brother, but he is not a part of the covenant either. Now let's go into Genesis, the 28th chapter. He the twin brother, but he ain't a part of the covenant. There's a lot of Israelite brothers going around to him where, you know, this is our brother. He is your brother, physically. But spiritually, he got all against you because he figured that you stole his birthright. He didn't forgot that small tidbit of agreement that he sold it. See, you know how you got people have selective memory? He chose to forget that. Genesis 28 and verse 1. 28 and 1. Go ahead.
And Isaac called Jacob and blessed him and charged him and said unto him, Thou shalt not take thee a wife of the daughters of Canaan. Arise, go to Padanaram to the house of Bethuel, thy mother's father.
Go ahead.
And take thee a wife from thence of the daughters of Laban, thy mother's brethren.
See, look, his mama broke at that deal because Esau was running around telling everybody, I'm killing Jacob. So she told Jacob, look, I'm going to send you down to your in-law's house, my in-law's house, until Esau cool off. Then she went and told Jacob, well, you know, I don't want, because Esau had married a Canaanite woman. So I don't want Jacob to marry no Canaanite woman. I want him to get a woman from among my people. And he sent him away. He actually was quoting what she planted in his head. So he wasn't going down there to get a wife. He was going to get a wife, but that wasn't the real thing. The original thing was she wanted to get him away from Esau, because Esau, I'm going to kill Jacob. Because he done stole my birthright. Like I said, selective memory. Go down, skip down to verse 10. Verse 10 and go ahead.
And Jacob went out from Beersheba and went toward Haran.
Go ahead.
And he lighted upon a certain place and tarried there all night, because the sun was set. And he took of the stones of that place and put them for his pillows and laid down in that place to sleep. And he dreamed, and behold, a ladder set up on the earth, and the top of it reached to heaven. And behold, the angels of God ascending and descending on it.
That's why you get the word Jacob ladder. They got it from right here. While Jacob was dreaming, he saw a big ladder reached all the way to heaven, and he saw the angel coming up and going down on it. Go ahead and read.
And behold, the Lord stood above it and said, I am the Lord God of Abraham thy father, and the God of Isaac.
Go ahead.
The land wherein thou liest, to thee will I give it, and to thy seed.
Now he told him the same thing. Your same land that I promised to your father and your grandfather. Go ahead and read.
And thy seed shall be as the dust of the earth. And thou shalt spread abroad to the west, and to the east, and to the north, and to the south. And in thee and in thy seed shall all the families of the earth be blessed.
He passed that same thing down, didn't he? Yeah. That it started with Abraham. That's why I don't know why my brothers can't see this. How is it that you can call yourself an Israelite and you can't see this? What's all the families mean? Everyone. And his seed. And I had to be Jesus, because if you're talking about this physical seed, they're trying to throw everybody in the lake of fire. So now, he said the same thing. He just passed that covenant right on down through Jacob now. Genesis, the 35th chapter. Genesis 35, because we're going to walk this thing right on down, sisters and brothers, to the Lord, to let you know that the Lord have not missed a beat. There ain't no interruption. Remember, the same God that spoke to Moses is the one that spoke to John that wrote Revelation. Same one. There is no interruption in this. Genesis 35, we're going to start at verse 9. Genesis 35 and verse 9. Okay, go ahead.
And God appeared unto Jacob again when he came out of Padanaram and blessed him.
Go ahead.
And God said unto him, Thy name is Jacob.
Go ahead.
Thy name shall not be called any more Jacob, but Israel shall be thy name. and he called his name Israel.
So now the Lord changed Jacob's name to Israel. He gave him his name.
Yeah.
So now he is legally under the covenant, sisters and brothers. Just like our forefathers, if they called us by our father's name before it was changed, we would be Jacobites. Just like Israelites. Judahites instead of Jews. Benjamites, Levites. When you break down the tribe. That's why them other people just call themselves Jews. If you are a Jew, then you are a Judahite. You come out of the tribe of Judah. How do you know you come out of the tribe? Well, I'm a Jew. Wait a minute. Jacob had 12 sons. That's the mark of ignorance right there. So now, he changed his name. That means he adopted him. That's why when God sends Moses down to Pharaoh, he told Pharaoh that Israel is my son. I want you to let him go. Because if you don't let my son go, I'm going to kill your son. Not only did he say he is my son, he said he is my firstborn. And if you don't kill my son, I'm going to kill your son, your firstborn. When the Lord said firstborn and he done adopted the whole nation, then where are the rest of his children going to come? From the rest of the families of the earth, sisters and brothers. Whosoever will bless, he will bless. Whosoever will come under this covenant can come under it if they're prepared to do the thing that Abraham did. These things, sisters and brothers, we're supposed to know. We are the priests. What verse was that? Go ahead and read verse 11. Go ahead.
And God said unto him, I am God Almighty. Be fruitful and multiply. A nation and a company of nations shall be of thee, and kings shall come out of thy loins.
He said, I'm going to do this. Now, so I want you to go ahead and do this. Now, let's follow it go. Now, let's go into Exodus, the 19th chapter. Exodus 19th chapter. Because, sisters and brothers, the Lord have this all laid out. Because he is not going to deal with anybody that's not in the covenant with him. Now, Abraham was into the covenant. Isaac was a part of the covenant. Jacob is a part of the covenant. And Jacob's children have to be a part of the covenant too. Exodus 19 and start at verse 9. 19 and 9. Okay, go ahead.
And the Lord said unto Moses, Lo, I come unto thee in a thick cloud, that the people may hear when I speak with thee, and believe thee forever.
So he wanted Moses to go out there now. So look at here. I'm going to come and speak to all of the people. I come in a thick cloud, and I'm going to come, and I want to speak to everybody. Go ahead and read.
And Moses told the words of the people unto the Lord.
Go ahead. Read right through.
And the Lord said unto Moses, Go into the people and sanctify them today and tomorrow, and let them wash their clothes.
He said, I want you to wash their clothes and take them a good bath. Go ahead and read.
And be ready against the third day. For the third day the Lord will come down in the sight of all the people upon Mount Sinai.
Go ahead.
And thou shalt set bounds unto the people round about, saying, Take heed to yourselves that ye go not up into the mount, or touch the border of it. Whosoever toucheth the mount shall be surely put to death.
Go ahead.
There shall not an hand touch it, but he shall surely be stoned or shot through, whether it be beast or man. It shall not live when the trumpet soundeth long. They shall come up to the mount.
He's giving you dynamics. Keep reading.
And Moses went down from the mountain to the people and sanctified the people, and they washed their clothes. And he said unto the people, Be ready against the third day. Come not at your wives.
And look here, brother, do not mess with your wives. The Lord don't want you dealing with that. That's the same thing on the week of the Sabbath day. People ask me, well, the Sabbath day, can you? No, you can't. Because it'll be your pleasure, and if it ain't no pleasure, you polluting it. Either way, you don't escape.
That's right.
What verse was that?
We're at 16.
Go ahead and read.
And it came to pass on the third day in the morning that there were thunders and lightnings and a thick cloud upon the mount, and the voice of the trumpet exceeding loud, so that all the people that was in the camp trembled. And Moses brought forth the people out of the camp to meet with God.
Ain't that something?
Yeah.
And he brought forth the people out of the camp to meet with God. Ain't no other nation have done this but us, sisters and brothers.
That's it.
No other nation met with God.
No.
And you think you ain't special? That's why your punishment is special.
Yeah.
Because can't nobody ever make the claim that they met with God but Israel.
That's it.
Go ahead and read.
17. And they stood at the nether part of the mount.
Uh-huh.
And Mount Sinai was altogether on the smoke, because the Lord descended upon it in fire.
Go ahead.
And the smoke thereof ascended up as the smoke of a furnace.
Uh-huh.
And the whole mount quaked greatly.
The whole mountain was quaking because God was standing on it, sisters and brothers. Go ahead and read.
And when the voice of the trumpet sounded long and waxed louder and louder, Moses spake, and God answered him by a voice.
Ain't that something? Moses spake, and everybody heard the voice of God. Yeah. Everybody. Let's see what he said. Let's go into Exodus, the 20th chapter. We're going to read a little of these commandments. We ain't going to read it all, but we're going to hit a few spots. Exodus 20, and we're going to start at verse 1. Exodus 20 and verse 1. Now, this is the message that God brought himself. He wouldn't even entrust it in the hand of an angel. He came down, and he met Israel face to face, and he gave them some specifics. And we're going to find out that the covenant is riding on what he gave them. We're just going to look at the specifics. Start at verse 1. Go ahead.
And God spake all these words, saying, I am the Lord thy God.
Go ahead.
Which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage.
Go ahead.
Thou shalt have no other gods before me.
That's the first thing. You should have no other God before me. You know, Amun-Ra. You know, Egyptians talk about that. You brothers run around here talking about Egyptologists and Ra and all that foolishness. No other God for me. I'm the only God.
That's right.
Go ahead and read.
Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image, or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth.
Now, how can you go in a church and they got statues everywhere? You're not even supposed to have a picture on the wall that says, this is Jesus of God. Brothers think he can get away with it. See, I'm going to make my Jesus black. He was black. But you still can't put no picture of it. No. Any images. God telling you this. Go ahead and read.
5. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them.
Now look, if your child got a little baby doll, or they got some toys, it ain't talking about that. He's talking about you get one and you bow down and you say this is some kind of God. That's what you prohibit. Like we had a brother one time, somebody had a baby doll and he won't take the baby doll. You can't bring no image in the church. Come on, man. But go ahead and read.
5. For I, the Lord thy God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children, until the 3rd and 4th generation of them that hate me.
Now, I'm a jealous God. And I'm going to deal with them that hate me. Skip down to verse 8 and go ahead. Because I want you to show you what else is important to God. Go ahead and read.
Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy.
Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. This is this day, sisters and brothers. Yeah. You ain't supposed to do your pleasures. Wash your car. Go out Friday night and shake it up and shake it down. Get drunk. Wash your clothes. Keep this holy. Skip down to verse 12. Verse 12 and go ahead.
Honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be long upon the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee.
Look, sisters and brothers, I want to throw a little wrinkle in this. People say, well, if I die, I'm going to die when my time comes. This tells me you can escalate your time. He said, honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days be long on earth. Now, if you dishonor your mother and your father, your days can be cut short. Your time came then because you made it your time. I ain't never bought in that anyway. But go ahead and read. Honor your father and your mother. Right off the top. Go ahead and read.
13. Thou shalt not kill.
Thou shalt not kill.
Thou shalt not commit adultery.
Thou shalt not commit adultery.
Thou shalt not steal.
Thou shalt not steal. Go ahead.
Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor.
You shouldn't lie on your neighbor. Go ahead and read.
Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife.
Go ahead.
Nor his manservant. Nor his maidservant.
Go ahead.
Nor his ox. Nor his ass. Nor anything that is thy neighbor's.
Isn't it? So whatever your neighbor have, you're not supposed to covet it. If your neighbor is doing good, you should be happy for your neighbor. If you're on a job and your neighbor get promoted, you didn't get promoted, you should be happy for him instead of walking around. Should have been my job, see? He said, you don't covet nothing that your neighbor has. His house, his car, his wife, his money, nothing. Just pray to the Lord that he bless you.
That's it.
Thank God that he bless your neighbor. And Lord, if you have a little bit left, could you give me some of it? But you ain't supposed to covet. And that's what people do all the time. People tell me, brother, boy, you think you something else I am. I'm a servant of God. And I can say that without blemish. Go ahead and read what verse?
18.
And
all the people saw the thunderings and the lightnings and the noise of the trumpet and the mountain smoking. And when the people saw it, they removed and stood afar off. And they said unto Moses, Speak thou with us, and we will hear. But let not God speak with us, lest we die.
Now he said, I want y'all to, Moses, we don't want to speak to God, but God held him there until he gave the full message. The covenant that he wanted to make enter into it with. Now, when he got through, he let their fear consume them, and they said remove. That means they ran away from the mountain and told Moses, look here now, we don't want to hear God no more. You speak to God, and we're going to do all that you said. What verse was that?
We had 20.
Go ahead and read.
And Moses said unto the people, Fear not, for God is come to prove you, and that his fear may be before your faces, that ye sin not.
He said, look, he came to prove you that he let you know that he existed. That you will fear him enough not to sin. See, people don't know that God exists. He said, these are my words.
Thank you for tuning in to today's lesson. If you are in the Chicagoland area, we welcome you to join our church community every Saturday at 12 noon Central. We are located in Riverdale, Illinois at 520 West 138th Street. Our ministry is made possible by your donations. To make a donation or to view all of our locations across the world, please visit our website at www.theisraelofgod.com.